You breathe your last breath. The physical body still lies there, but your essence begins to stir, shifting from one realm to another. In these first moments, the first 3 hours after death, Edgar Cayce's trance readings suggest there is no confusion, no shock, no darkness. Rather, it is a process of awakening, a gentle, loving transition. Before we go deeper into this reflection, I want to take a moment to welcome you. If you're new here, this is Reflections in Mindfulness. Please consider subscribing to the channel so you can join our community and continue exploring timeless wisdom and inner peace together. Your support truly helps us grow and bring more content like this to you. Hour 1. Separation is gentle. Cayce described that the soul remains connected to the body long enough to release. The detachment happens gradually, not violently. It's like removing a garment without pain or cruelty. The energy that once animated flesh lifts, and you awaken to a new awareness. You don't vanish into nothingness. Instead, the soul moves into a subtle realm where the body is left behind, but your identity continues. During that first hour, you may sense loved ones, guides, or spiritual attendants waiting. Those who have crossed before may accompany you, reaching out not in judgment, but in love and welcome. You may not fully see them in forms familiar to the waking mind. These guides are subtle, luminous, woven of compassion. You feel safe. You feel known. You may also begin to see your life from a new vantage point. Cayce's readings often mention a life review, though this full review stretches beyond the first 3 hours into days and even weeks. Yet seeds of that review sprout early. You might see scenes replay, not as an external viewer, but with deep empathy and insight, seeing more what was hidden, the choices, the regrets, the acts of love. Hour 2. Awareness deepens. You move beyond attachment to the physical, entering a dimension where time is fluid, where past, present, and possibility coalesce. The soul senses spiritual laws, that love is the binding force, that consciousness is eternal. You feel yourself expanding beyond the body, dissolving boundaries of self. You may meet those you loved or those you hurt. The meeting is not for blame, but for recognition, reconciliation, and healing. You feel the fullness of your life's emotional tone, the shadows and the light, and see that every moment, every intention, carried weight. In this hour, the soul begins to assert its freedom, to detach from regrets, to release what no longer serves. It is a time of choice. How willing are you to let go? What do you carry still? What do you forgive? By the 3rd hour, the transition has matured. You are in a luminous realm, surrounded by beings of higher light. You may feel the pull toward rest, healing, reflection, toward a sanctuary where the soul rests before its journey continues. You are not alone. You are held. You do not wish to return to the body unless there remain unfinished tasks of love, growth, or service. In many Cayce readings, he emphasized that death is not punishment, it is a process of transformation. The soul doesn't descend into darkness, it rises into illumination, guided by love, mercy, and wisdom. It is a process of becoming more real, more conscious. To prepare for that moment in life now, we can practice living in kindness, in forgiveness, in awareness. We can contemplate mortality gently, not fearfully, so that when the moment comes, the soul's awakening is welcomed instead of resisted. Now that we've entered the first 3 hours after death through the lens of Edgar Cayce's insights, let us look more deeply into what unfolds next and how these moments shape the soul's journey forward. Cayce often emphasized that death is not an abrupt end, but a transition, and in these earliest hours, the foundation is laid for everything that follows. Cayce spoke of the soul retaining an energetic imprint of its life just lived. Think of it like a gentle echo that still rings after the body has grown silent. This echo is not merely memory, but vibration the accumulated resonance of every thought, intention, and action. In the beginning hours after death, that resonance surrounds the soul, offering clarity about who you were, how you lived, and what you carried within. It is not judgment from the outside, but recognition from within. One of Cayce's most striking teachings was about the Akashic records, which he described as a kind of universal memory field, containing every act and thought of every soul. In these early hours, fragments of that record rise to the surface of awareness. You may catch glimpses of pivotal moments, a conversation that changed someone's life, a kindness you forgot you gave, a wound you never healed. These reflections do not arrive to condemn, but to awaken understanding. They allow the soul to see how its energy affected the wider web of life. This process, Cayce suggested, can be gentle or turbulent depending on one's inner state at death. If you lived with peace, forgiveness, and trust, these first hours are like stepping into a calm dawn. If you lived with bitterness or fear, the resonance may feel heavier, as though the soul is pulling itself free from chains it carried. Yet no matter the state, the opportunity is the same: to release, to learn, and to rise. The guides and loved ones who appear during this time assist in that release, helping you loosen your grip on what binds you. By the second hour, the awareness of time begins to change. What was once linear now feels expansive. Cayce indicated that the soul in this phase may glimpse future possibilities, not as fixed destinies, but as pathways. The future is not yet chosen, but you see that your journey continues. That life, in some form, always seeks expression. This insight brings both comfort and responsibility. Comfort because nothing is truly lost. Responsibility because your choices still shape the road ahead. Moving into the third hour, the separation from the physical is now complete. The body is no longer a home for the soul. You find yourself clothed instead in a body of light, not physical as we know it, but real enough to move, to feel, to connect. Cayce described this as the astral body, or a vehicle of consciousness. In this form, the soul feels both freedom and vulnerability. There is freedom because the density of matter is gone, vulnerability because the soul must now face itself with honesty. This honesty is not cruel. It is compassionate, for in this stage, you begin to understand yourself as you truly are. You see the beauty of your intentions, the weight of your fears, and the places where love was withheld. You sense that everything is connected and that you are part of something vast, alive, and intelligent. Many describe this as feeling embraced by a presence of light, what some call God, Source, or the Divine. Cayce affirmed that this presence is always with us, but in these first hours, the veil is thin and the reality of that presence becomes undeniable. What does this mean for us now, while we are alive? It means that the quality of our daily lives shapes the resonance we will encounter in those first hours after death. If we live with awareness, we will meet peace. If we practice forgiveness, we will meet freedom. If we nurture love, we will meet joy. This is why Cayce often urged people to live with purpose, service, and kindness. For death does not erase who we are, it reveals who we have become. So as we reflect together, take a moment to consider, what vibrations are you carrying now? What echoes will surround you in those first hours after your final breath? These are not questions to fear, but invitations to live more deeply, more mindfully, and more lovingly here and now. As we move further into the soul's early journey beyond the physical, let us imagine ourselves in that luminous space Edgar Cayce described. The first 3 hours may have passed, but the awakening continues, a gentle unfolding of awareness and light. In this moment, the soul begins to explore the realm of consciousness that exists beyond the body, a space where time is no longer linear and where all things are interconnected. You may sense loved ones approaching, not as the people you remember, but as beings of pure energy, radiating love and recognition. Cayce often described these encounters as affirming, not frightening, emphasizing that the soul is welcomed rather than judged. Even those who were once challenging figures in your life may appear to guide, to teach, or simply to acknowledge the shared journey of existence. These meetings are not about correction. They are about understanding, healing, and integration. During this stage, the soul begins to perceive its life from a broader perspective. Patterns emerge, decisions reveal consequences, and the ripple effects of kindness and love become visible. Cayce frequently spoke of the life review, an opportunity for the soul to witness the impact of its actions and choices. This reflection is imbued with compassion. You are not punished for mistakes. You are given insight into what could have been approached differently, what could have been embraced more fully, and what love could have flowed more freely. By the second hour, the awareness of spiritual laws deepens. You sense that love is the guiding principle of the universe, the force that binds and sustains all things. Cayce indicated that this understanding is crucial for the soul's transition. The more aligned with love and harmony the soul is, the smoother the journey becomes. Resistance, fear, or unresolved attachments can slow this process, while openness, forgiveness, and acceptance create a natural flow toward light and understanding. As the third hour approaches, the soul begins to feel the liberation from the physical constraints of the body. You experience what Cayce described as the light body, a form that allows movement, perception, and connection without the limitations of flesh. In this state, the soul can traverse spaces of consciousness, communicate with other souls, and begin the process of deeper healing. Emotional residues from life may arise, yet they are met with support and love, guiding the soul to release what is no longer needed. This is also a time of choice. While the soul has moved beyond the body, it begins to discern its path for the coming days, weeks, or even longer. Cayce often noted that the early hours after death set the tone for the next stage of the journey. Whether the soul moves swiftly into greater light or lingers to process lessons depends largely on the readiness cultivated in life. Here lies the invitation. By living with mindfulness, compassion, and presence, we prepare our souls for a peaceful and enlightening transition. As we reflect on these insights, it becomes clear that the first hours after death are not to be feared, but embraced. Cayce's wisdom reminds us that the soul is always guided, always supported, and always moving toward greater consciousness. By cultivating love, practicing forgiveness, and living intentionally, we align ourselves with this natural process, ensuring that when the moment comes, the soul awakens gracefully with clarity, peace, and light. So now, take a deep breath and allow yourself to feel the truth of this journey. Imagine the freedom, the light, the connection. Reflect on how your life today can create a resonance that your soul will carry into the first hours beyond the body. This is the gift of mindfulness, preparing the soul not only to live fully, but to transition fully when the time arrives. As we move into this final reflection, let us imagine the soul fully transitioning into the next realm, guided by the wisdom Edgar Cayce shared in his readings. The first 3 hours after death set the stage, but the journey continues, and in this space, the soul begins to integrate, heal, and prepare for what lies ahead. There is a profound sense of release, of shedding what is no longer necessary, and stepping into a reality defined by consciousness and love rather than physical limitation. Cayce often emphasized that even in these early stages, the soul experiences a form of life review, a gentle, compassionate overview of the experiences, choices, and relationships that shaped its human existence. You are not judged harshly. Instead, you are guided to see, understand, and reconcile. This process allows the soul to release regrets, embrace forgiveness, and recognize the lessons embedded in both joy and suffering. It is a time of learning, reflection, and preparation for the next steps in spiritual evolution. During this period, the soul encounters love in its purest form. Guides, ancestors, and spiritual beings offer support, encouragement, and guidance. Cayce described these presences as being both luminous and nurturing, a reminder that no soul ever journeys alone. The connection to the divine, to the universal consciousness, is palpable and unmistakable. In these moments, clarity emerges, and the soul begins to perceive its path with greater understanding and insight. By now, the soul has fully transitioned from the constraints of the physical body. Freed from density, it begins to explore dimensions of thought, feeling, and awareness that were previously inaccessible. Cayce's readings describe this as a time of immense potential, where the soul can choose the pace and direction of its journey. Decisions about rest, reflection, or immediate movement towards service and reunion are made in a space of clarity and alignment with divine law. Cayce also highlighted that the early hours after death are a crucial period for releasing attachment. Whether it is attachment to possessions, relationships, or unresolved emotions, letting go allows the soul to move with greater ease and freedom. The process is gentle but intentional. Awareness and willingness are the keys to smooth transition. Meditation, mindfulness, and practices of love cultivated during life naturally support this liberation, demonstrating the profound connection between how we live and how we leave. As the soul rests, reflects, and begins its forward journey, there is a sense of unity with all that is. Cayce described this as an awakening to the interconnectedness of existence, where the boundaries between self and others dissolve, leaving only understanding, compassion, and love. The first 3 hours may be brief in physical time, but they are rich in experience, growth, and insight. They are a bridge between the world of flesh and the vast, luminous realm of spirit. Finally, consider how these teachings apply to us now. By living with intention, practicing forgiveness, nurturing love, and embracing mindfulness, we prepare our souls not only for life, but for the moments of transition that will inevitably come. Death, as Cayce reminds us, is not an end, but a passage, a movement from limitation to expansion, from fear to understanding, from separation to reunion. It is a natural, beautiful unfolding of consciousness. Take a moment to reflect on these truths. Imagine your own soul moving through these first hours with peace, clarity, and light. Let this reflection inspire the way you live, love, and act today. And remember, mindfulness is not just about awareness in the present, but preparation for the eternal journey of the soul.